All right, Shalom. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to YAHAWAH BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM RAWCHAA QADASH. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth. Shalom to the hopeful elect. I'm back with another quick lesson through the Holy Spirit of the RAWCHAA QADASH. And like the Lord said, can you not discern the signs of the times? Right? This is the book of Job 14:5, and it reads, it says, seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. Okay? And Babylon the Great, America, has reached its limit in rulership. All right? And we're all watching for that time. We're in that window of destruction, something major happening. And like I said, we're going to keep our eyes glued to prophecy. Right? Job 14:5. NLT, it says, you have decided the length of our lives. You know how many months we will live, and we are not giving them any longer. All right. So again, this whole anniversary of America is a major deal, you know, and a lot of things are happening in this time. Okay. I saw this earlier here. It says New York City sky glows red, blood red during 250th anniversary celebration. All right. So a lot of things are happening. The Lord has given us those cues, those omens, if you will, the signs of the times that let us know that this shit is almost over, you know? This thing is almost out of there, right? Make a point on that too, right? Matthew 16. Okay, Matthew 16:1. And it reads, it says, the Pharisees also with the Sadducees came, and tempting, desiring him that he should show them a sign from heaven. He answered and said unto them, when it is evening, ye say it will be fair weather, for the sky is red, right? And in the morning it will be foul weather today, for the sky is red and lowering. O you hypocrites, you can discern the face of the sky, but you cannot discern the signs of the times, right? A wicked and adulterous generation seeketh after a sign, and there should be no sign given unto it, but the sign of the prophet Jonas. And he left them and departed. So the sign is really the prophets, man, that are standing up and give you the warning of the pending doom that's getting ready to fall upon America, man. All right? The destruction that awaits at the door. That's the sign. And we are to measure the time diligently in itself, okay? Understanding that these things are getting closer and closer every day, right? Let me get that real quick. 2nd Ezra, chapter 9. Real quick. This is 2nd Ezra 9 and 1, and it reads. It says, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made, and we're in that time. Okay? We're measuring the times with the scriptures, man. All the world events that are taking place, all right, we're able to go back to the scriptures and look it up, you know, and confirm what YAHAWASHI warned us of, all right, what he told us about, okay? Which validates the word of YAHAWASHI. That's how we know that the word of the Lord is faithful and true. Verse 3, therefore, when there should be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, and we've been seeing major earthquakes all around the world. You just had that major earthquake in Venezuela. All right, not too long ago, you had those major earthquakes in the Philippines. Really all over the world, man. Okay, people are dying. Cities are being, torn down. Okay, it's a lot going on globally, right? Therefore, when there should be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, and people are standing up, uproars, okay, seditions, revolutions, people are coming against the systems in their particular countries. You know, they're going against the governments. Okay, you got all types of protests worldwide, man. All right. Verse 4, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things. I'm sorry, let me read it again. Then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning, right? For like all that is made in the world have a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. Okay? Clearly. Okay, the end is manifest. Is right in front of us right now, man. Okay? So let's get into this thing, man. Okay? Doom and gloom, all right? Woes and destruction are soon to follow, right? So this is from the WLT report. It says, watch President Trump delivers epic historical speech on America's 250th birthday, all right? Let's just play some quick clips here. See what we got.
From the beginning, we were a nation that lived by the motto, victory or death, and live free or die. 1 out of every 100 Americans gave their lives in the fight for independence to remind us of who these heroes were and what they gave us. We are honored to have here tonight in the heart of our nation's capital one of the very first American flags ever to exist. Dating back to 1777, it bears the 13 stars and 13 stripes of the 13 states that declared independence on the 4th of July. There it is. This was the flag that flew victorious at Saratoga. And these are the real deals, too. These are the real flags. These are flags that have seen a lot. These were the stars and stripes that flew triumphant when the British waved the white flag of surrender at Yorktown. That was a big surrender. Nobody thought that was possible. They were the greatest power of the world, and they surrendered, and that was the beginning. Ever since, the entire world has been on notice that Americans will never let anyone take our freedom away. Won't happen. And all these talks from the communists, they haven't got a chance. Not even a chance. We don't want communists in our country.
Let's see what else we got. Quick video clips, right?
This country is the home of freedom. This is the land of liberty. And this is a flag that's the banner of the most extraordinary, most exceptional, most incredible nation ever to exist on the face of the earth. And we're doing better now than we've ever done before. No people have done more good, shown more courage, made more progress, righted more injustice, or achieved more greatness than you, the American people. For 250 years, the United States of America has been the hope, the promise, the light, and the glory among all of the nations of the world. All over the world, they try and be like us. Nobody can be like us, and with God's help, we will always be this or even better. We're going to be better. Here on our National Mall, we're celebrating freedom's triumph over tyranny, liberty's conquest over oppression, and the enduring victory of the American spirit from the July 4th, 1776 to July 4th, 2026. Big dates. That's big dates. Two big ones. And tonight our country is stronger, freer, richer, safer, and prouder than ever before.
Yep, prouder than ever before. Scripture said the most proud shall stumble and fall. And these, like you said, these are big dates, right? They hold heavy significance, man. Okay, but like you said, this is the most, this is the most wicked empire in the world. All right, that's going to be wiped off from the face of the earth. Let's add that in there. All this pride is going to lead to destruction, man. All right, Amos 9. All right, Amos 9 and verse 8, and it reads, Behold, the eyes of the Lord power, YAHAWASHI, are upon the sinful kingdom, all right? And we're applying this to Babylon the Great, America. This is the most wicked kingdom on the face of the earth, all right? Behold, the eyes of the Lord power are upon the sinful kingdom, and I will destroy it from off the face of the earth, right? That's what's about to happen. Saving that I will not utterly destroy the house of Jacob, saith the Lord, YAHAWASHI, right? Let me get that in Jeremiah 50. Okay, what he said, we're back, we're more prouder. Can I play that again? Right?
And the enduring victory of the American spirit from the July 4th, 1776 to July 4th, 2026. Big dates. That's big dates. Two big ones. And tonight our country is stronger, freer, richer, safer, and prouder than ever before.
Yep, prouder than ever before. All right, right before the destruction. All right, look how beautiful that's playing out. Right. Let's go back to Jeremiah. Right, Jeremiah 50. Let's add on to that. Okay, Jeremiah 50 and verse said the most proud shall fall. Right. This is Jeremiah 30. I'm sorry, Jeremiah 50. And let's start at 28 and read down. Okay. Jeremiah 50 and 28, and it reads, this is the voice of them that flee and escape out of the land of Babylon, to declare in Zion the vengeance of the Lord, YAHAWASHI, our power, the vengeance of his temple. All right, the Lord is he's going to redeem and avenge his people, the saints of the Most High, the Israelites, okay, for what Babylon did to them. Verse 29, call together the archers against Babylon, all ye that bend the bow. Camp against it round about, let none thereof escape. Recompense her according to her work, according to all that she have done. See? Do unto her, for she have been proud against the Lord, YAHAWASHI, against the Holy One of Israel, right? Scriptures say, you know, reward Babylon double, all right? Revelation 18, just to add on to that real quick. This is Revelation 18 and 5. And it reads, it says, for her sins have reached unto heaven, and YAHAWASHI have remembered her iniquities, right? The Lord hasn't forgotten anything, all right, from the time of the inception of Babylon the Great America to this point now. Okay, all the bloodshed, the murder, the robbery, the genocide, okay, the broken treaties, the lies, everything, man. YAHAWASHI require which is past. Verse 6, reward her even as she rewarded you, right? And double unto her double according to her works, in the cup which she have filled to her double, all right? Babylon is going to be double rewarded. Okay? Verse 7, how much she have glorified herself and lived deliciously. So much torment and sorrow give her, for she saith in her heart, I sit a queen and am no widow and shall see no sorrow. And that's the spirit that's being pushed. All right, that this place would never see adversity, but we're at the door of destruction. All right, whether you can see it or not, whether you believe it or not, doesn't matter. All right, the will of the Lord will be done. Right? Back Jeremiah 50 and 30, therefore shall her young men fall in the streets, all her men of war shall be cut off in that day, saith the Lord, YAHAWASHI. And as we were talking about at the end of this year, all right, they're talking about that draft is coming. Right? So a lot of these soldiers that are going to be sent, you know, to the so-called Middle East, okay, for this final World War III, this is the last time they're going to be seen. Okay? Verse 31, the point, behold, I am against thee, O thou most proud. What did Trump say? We're back. We're more richer, more proud, you know? O thou most proud, saith the Lord power of hosts, for thy day is come, the time that I will visit thee, right? For thy day is come, right? For thy day is come, the time that I will visit thee, right? America is at death's door. Okay? The time of judgment, the judgment of YAHAWASHI, right? Behold, I am against thee, O thou most proud, saith the Lord power of hosts. For that day is come, the time that I will visit thee. And the most proud shall stumble and fall, and none shall raise him up. I will kindle a fire in his cities, and it shall devour all round about him. And that's that nuclear destruction that the Lord has reserved for this place. All right, NLT, a land of arrogance. All right, America is a land of arrogance. You will stumble and fall, and no one will raise you up. Right, and this is what they're doing with these celebrations and these talks of making America great again. Okay, it's all lies. And no one will raise you up, for I will light a fire in the cities of Babylon that will burn up everything around them. Whew, man, it's getting ready to go. All right, so continue to pay attention here. You see? Let's see what else we got. That's a longer one. Let's see.
250 years old, at 250 years old, we may be the oldest constitutional republic on earth, but our country is just getting started because the best is yet to come.
Just lying to the people, man. You know, but the people love to have it that way. They love to have it so, you know.
This is only the dawn of the golden age of America, and on this 250th 4th of July, we declare, just as they did 2.5 centuries ago, that for our country and for our children and for the cause of liberty, we are going to take our country to new levels, to levels not reached. We're going to make it bigger, better, stronger, and we're going to love it even more. And I just want to thank you, and the inconvenience of lightning can do that, but lightning will never stop you. And I want to thank everybody, and we love you all, and it's an honor to be your president. Thank you. God bless you all. God bless you all. Thank you. We have a great fireworks display tonight, and I'm going to be...
Yeah, finished. All right, anyway, let's move on here. All right, I want to play this clip from Kim Iverson. All right. So this title here, this came out 2 days ago. It says, former Pentagon official, America is closer to collapse than you think.
Well, most of us live as if tomorrow is going to look pretty much like today. And we assume the lights are going to come on, the grocery stores are going to stay stocked, the internet will work, and the basic systems that we rely on will just, keep functioning. But what if that's a dangerous assumption? We have a growing risk of major war, cyber attacks, economic instability, fragile supply chains, deep political division. There are a lot of people who believe we're entering a period where society itself could face some very serious shocks. I think actually most of us feel that way. The question isn't just whether something could go wrong, it's whether we're anywhere close to being prepared if it does. Joining me now is someone who spent his career thinking about exactly those questions. Colonel Drew Miller is a retired U.S. Air Force officer with a PhD from Harvard, a former Defense Department senior executive, and now the president of the Collapse Survival Institute and CEO of Fortitude Ranch, the largest survival community network in the United States. He's also the author of Preparing to Survive in the Age of Collapse. Colonel Miller, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Kim. It's an honor to be on your program.
Well, definitely it seems like society's on the brink. We just had a major pandemic, which definitely, that I think caused a lot of us some shock. I'm surprised. Well, I actually, with you running a big survival community, I'm curious, did it grow really large since the pandemic? Were people like, wait a minute, anything could happen, supply chains could go disrupted, could become disruptive, there could be like a real plague type thing. So were people more like, oh, I better do something about this? Because I don't feel like in my life people did have that reaction, and you'd think that would have woken people up. Well,
we never considered H5 or COVID-19 to be a pandemic that was severe enough to cause a collapse. Early on, we issued alert. We have a collapse survivor app for threat alerts, and we told people, this is not it. We've been warning you about an H5N1 pandemic, bioengineered pandemics. Experts are saying they're inevitable, but COVID-19, the very initial data made it clear this is less than 1% lethal, so it's not going to stop people from going to work. Law and order isn't going to break down. This is not a collapse event. But our membership started going up at Fortitude Ranch, not because of COVID-19 so much, but because of things like Portland, Oregon, where people saw protests going on, and, police get tied up by protests, which means now not marauders, but looters can go and break into stores. And they saw this can go on over and over and over again. It's pretty easy for law and order to break down, even when there is not a genuine big collapse. So when our grid gets taken down, which again is something that even North Korea could destroy our electric grid, when there is a bad pandemic, when artificial intelligence is used to create new weapons of mass destruction, when we have a big disaster that leads to a collapse, and I define a collapse as the economy's not functioning and there's widespread loss of law and order. And when that happens, it could last for months, it could last for years if the grid is destroyed.
And when that happens, right, which is going to happen, all right, which is prophecy, as we know, 2nd Ezra 15. Okay, let's go there real quick. All right. Pull it back up. I don't know why it's acting up. All right, let's go to 2nd Ezra 15. Okay. Because it's inevitable, right? 2nd Ezra 15 and verse 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and the destruction draweth nigh. And one people should stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. All right, so it's going to happen. Okay, even this former Pentagon official is letting you know that it's going to happen. Okay. It says, for there should be sedition among men and invading one another, and they should not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. All right, so there's going to be uproars, revolutions, seditions, okay, everything, lawlessness, right? And men should desire to go into a city and should not be able, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled. And that's heavy too. What did Trump just talked about? They're more prideful than ever now. And the Lord said, because of their pride, the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. See? And man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. It's going to happen, right? And real quick, and this is where we are in America now. Okay, 111 million U.S. adults do not have a job in America, spends more than $1 trillion per year on a social safety net for them, right? And this is the state of a majority of Americans here, Quick summary, right? And then we'll go back to the video. Let's see what we got. Bear with me 1 second. We're going to summarize it here on the left, all right? So it's going to the summary of the main points of this article. It says unemployment in the labor force, the real jobless number. The author claims that 111 million Americans are currently without jobs. This combines the 7 million officially unemployed with 104 million adults categorized as not in the labor force. It's a lot of people. Okay. Misleading statistics. The official 4.2% unemployment rate is argued to be artificially low because it ignores those no longer looking for work. Declining participation. The labor force participation rate has dropped to 61.5%, which is a 50-year low when excluding the immediate COVID-19 era. All right. Let's see what else we got. Corporate layoffs, middle class job losses. Americans are increasingly losing middle class positions due to corporate downsizing. All right. And don't forget about the AI. It's taking all the jobs. Microsoft example, Microsoft reportedly preparing for another round of massive layoffs impacting thousands following the elimination of roughly 15,000 positions in 2025. All right. Rising inflation, basic living expenses continue to rise rapidly. Over the past year, the price of ground beef increased by 13% and steak prices increased by 16%. All right, so there you go. Let's go back here. All right.
And in that
Yeah.
time period, if you're not prepared, you will not survive.
I think, a lot of people think, well, this just won't really happen here. I think and I always think this is such a naive, to think, for example, that, oh, there won't be a civil war. It's like the country already had one. I mean, so it's not out of the realm of possibility that we would have another one. But people do tend to think like, oh, this will never happen. If the electrical grid goes down, they're going to put it back up within, just a couple of days at the worst. But usually within a few hours, they get it up and going again.
Yeah, that's why most of these people are in for a rude awakening, man. Like she said, a lot of people don't believe this is going to happen. And the only survival is if you're part of the elect, all right? The survival is going to be for the Lord's elect, period, man. All right, Isaiah 65, okay? Because survival is going to come from the Lord, not by your own means. So you can stock up food prep, all that stuff, have your bug out bag and, you got your secret location where you're going to run to. But if the Lord's not with you, you will not survive, period. And this is what we're saying. Isaiah 65 and verse 13, and it reads, therefore, thus saith the Lord power, YAHAWASHI, behold, my servants, right? My servants shall eat, but ye shall be hungry, right? The Lord said his servants were going to eat, but ye shall be hungry. Behold, my servants shall drink, but ye shall be thirsty. See? Behold, my servants shall rejoice, but ye shall be ashamed. All right? And the times that are coming, right, are going to be absolutely terrible. Okay? But the survivors are going to be who? The Lord's servants, his elect. Verse 14, behold, my servants shall sing for joy of heart, but ye shall cry for sorrow of heart and vexation, and shall howl for vexation of spirit. You see that? So somebody's going to eat and have drink and have raiment and clothing and shelter in that time. Okay, when society completely breaks down. Okay, when people are panicking and bugging out and unaliving each other. Right? That's why, again, as we always talk about, this wisdom is key in this time, man. This wisdom and knowledge and understanding is going to be your survival. Isaiah 33 and 6. And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability, right, of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord, YAHAWASHI, is his treasure. See? NLT, in that day, he will be your sure foundation, providing a rich store of salvation, wisdom, and knowledge. The fear of the Lord, YAHAWASHI, will be your treasure, right? It's all about this wisdom, all right? This knowledge, man. That's going to be our survival in these times to come, okay?
And, I do think that's a bit of a naive viewpoint, but it's hard not to get comfortable thinking like that. Like, oh, this event you're talking about just simply isn't going to happen. I mean, we've been at war for I don't even know how many years now, pretty much consecutively at war, and we haven't felt really any of the pain of that except sometimes high gas prices.
Well, we have what's called the probability of collapse model. I developed it over a decade ago. I was at the Institute for Defense Analyses. I presented it at the Military Operations Research Society Symposium. Not a big event. I doubt you've ever covered that on your show. But you cannot calculate precisely the odds of a disaster, but intelligence officials, I used to be an intelligence officer, we do all the time provide estimates of what's the likelihood of something happening, and the technical term is it's a subjective probability estimate. That's a fancy words for an expert guess, but there's so many threats.
So like you're saying, so they know, all right, they got it all, calculated or whatnot. They know what's coming. You see, it's already they've been preparing for it. All right, it's just that common everyday people who are clueless, you don't really understand. They've been prepping for this. Okay.
I've already mentioned, a half dozen of them here. And there's far more than that. Nanotechnology is another new technology that a lot of people are warning about. Could cause a gray goo disaster that kills plant life across continents. There's all kinds of threats we face. And some of them are old. I mean, we've had asteroid strikes. We've had super volcano eruptions that block sunlight for years and destroy crops worldwide. There's over 50 trigger events, is what we call them, that we track in our probability of collapse model. And then we have experts, several dozen experts. We just updated it a little over a year ago. They review the threats and then they ask themselves, what's the likelihood of this happening? And we have a high-low range because it is uncertain. And then what's the likelihood that something like this happens that will lead to a collapse? Again, economy stops functioning, law and order breaks down because if people aren't getting food in their grocery stores, if the grid's down and water isn't flowing, you're going to start dying. And most people will go out and steal food, maraud, kill if necessary to survive. So we add up.
As we just read, did we not just read 2 Ezra 15? That's the prophecy. Okay, these are the evils that are going to come upon Babylon the Great. Ezekiel, real fast, Ezekiel 7. So he said, redeem the time because what? The days are evil, right? Ezekiel 7:1, it says, moreover, the word of the Lord, YAHAWASHI, came into be saying, also thou son of man, thus saith the Lord power unto the land of Israel, and the end is come upon the four corners of the land. All right, and we're applying this to Babylon the Great, America. Right? Now the end is come upon thee. I will send my anger upon thee. I will judge thee according to thy ways, and will recompense upon thee all thy abominations. All right? So understand, okay, this place is about to get paid for, man. Okay? This place is about to be rewarded, is what I meant to say. Okay? For all the abominations, all the evil, all the death that is, promoted, the philosophies, the lies, the idolatry is all going to be rewarded, man. It says, verse 4, and my eyes should not spare thee, neither will I have pity, but I will recompense thy ways upon thee, and thy abominations shall be in the midst of thee, and ye shall know that I am the Lord, YAHAWASHI. Thus saith the Lord power, and evil and only evil, behold, is come. An end is come, the end is come, it watcheth for thee. Behold, it is come. Right? Behold, it is come. Right?
We have experts, several dozen experts. We just updated it a little over a year ago. They review the threats and then they ask themselves, what's the likelihood of this happening? And we have a high-low range because it is uncertain. And then what's the likelihood that something like this happens that will lead to a collapse? Again, economy stops functioning, law and order breaks down because if people aren't getting food in their grocery stores, if the grid's down and water isn't flowing, you're going to start dying. And most people will go out and steal food, maraud, kill if necessary to survive. So we add up the probability of collapse from these 50 different trigger events. And when you add them all together and then do a statistical adjustment to avoid double count, we end up with an annual estimate that there's a probability of collapse anywhere it's likely from 16 to 57% per year. It is not low. The probability of an asteroid strike in a year is very, very low. The probability of supervolcano earthquake eruption is very, very low. But H5N1 pandemic, the experts are saying it's inevitable. We are going to have a human-to-human transmissible version of H5N1, which historically has been 50% lethal. And when that happens, yes, you're absolutely going to have a collapse. So you add up 50 different trigger events, and it's not a low likelihood of collapse. It's very, very high. I'm surprised we haven't had a bioengineered pandemic yet. I'm surprised we haven't. So the probability of collapse is very, very high.
I mean, I think we just did have one. Wait a minute. Didn't we just have a bioengineered pandemic? Didn't we just come out of that? COVID-19?
That was the one, but it wasn't a severe enough one to cause a collapse. So again, something could happen, a disaster, but the next step in our models, well, what's the likelihood that it leads to a collapse? And so if you have a low level, low lethality pandemic, that's not going to stop people from going to work. That's not going to trigger a collapse.
Interesting.
Most earplugs hurt after an hour on the road, but loop earplugs?
So what he said is inevitable, man. It's going to happen. All right, this is what we all waiting on. Right? Let's let this pass real quick. Man.
Interesting. What is the most, I think that a lot of my instinct would be that what would actually cause a real true collapse would have to be something natural or seemingly natural. Right. I don't know if war will do it. I know people are really afraid of World War III, but society survived World War I and World War II. So if we have World War III, I think that there's a lot of people that won't even realize. I mean, some people, if they never read the news, they would never even know that there was a war going on if there was World War III, for example. Certainly people are able to stay out of that.
I disagree with you on that. I mean, back in World War II, we could escape the destruction going on in the Pacific and in Europe. You can't do that today. So our electric grid is, I call it our Achilles heel. There's a great documentary everyone should watch called Grid Down, Power Up. And it's not hard to destroy the U.S. electric grid. Solar flares could do it. The natural causes could destroy our electric grid. North Korea, as I mentioned earlier, has the capability, even though their nuclear force is small, inaccurate, not very good, it was designed with the assistance of Russian experts to focus on generating electromagnetic pulse. So all the North Korea needs to do is detonate one or two high altitude, not accurate nuclear detonations somewhere over the central U.S., and that's it. Our grid could be destroyed. And when I say destroyed, I mean destroyed. It will take...
Yeah. So as we read, just came to mind as he was saying this. All right, we read this in Jeremiah just now, Jeremiah 50. All right, because when World War III starts, all right, there is no option. There's nothing. There's no escape. Okay, this is Jeremiah 50. And matter of fact, let me get in Jeremiah 48. That's a good one too. All right, Jeremiah 48. Okay. Jeremiah 48:8, it says, "And the spoiler shall come upon every city, and no city shall escape. The valley also shall perish, and the plain shall be destroyed, as the Lord YAHAWASHI has spoken." There is no escape. Okay? Once those missiles are let off, that's it. Okay? No survivors. Jeremiah 50:29 again. "Call together the archers against Babylon, all you that bend the bow, camp against it round about. Let none thereof escape." Right? "Recompense her according to her work, according to all that she have done, do unto her, for she have been proud against the Lord, against the Holy One of Israel." There you go.
Because over a year to get it repaired. And when you lose the grid, you have no municipal water systems. I mean, you're going to lose, according to the experts, the congressionally funded EMP Commission. They warned Congress, if you don't harden our grid, and this was over a decade ago, if you don't harden our grid, 90% of Americans could die. In the year or years it takes to rebuild the grid with no water systems, nothing can function. Can't pump fuel, can't do anything. What did Congress do? Not a damn thing. Because the votes are in not raising your electric rates. It's going to cost some money to harden the grid. They don't raise electric rates that could lose votes. And then they get huge donations from the electric utility lobbies. So we're not insulated. You could destroy our electric grid. But the more The bigger threat, I believe, is something you've talked about quite a bit on your show recently, gain-of-function research. It's been done. We have publicized, your government funds were used to make H5N1, which used to be bird flu, avian flu. It's not anymore. It's spreading in over 50 mammal populations today. And we did gain-of-function research, and then we published how we did this research to make H5N1 air-to-air transmissible between mammals. Ferrets were the species that were used. Your government did that. And of course, they gave money to Wuhan, to the Chinese army research on making it more effective. So I think it's very, very likely. And as a matter of fact, the collapse survivor app, I mentioned that earlier, they issued an alert when we started the war with Iran. We issued an alert. There's threat alerts on this app here. Again, get it in front of the camera. And they issued an alert saying that, hey, there is a risk. You need to be prepared for Iranian terrorist attacks on U.S. soil, not with nuclear weapons, but releasing a deadly virus over here. Iran hates us. We're still the great Satan. As a result of the last few months, they hate us even more. And it's not going to be hard for them to get Revolutionary Guards volunteers to come over here and release a deadly virus in the U.S. So in World War II, yeah, we could escape the direct ravages of war. You can't do that nowadays.
Yeah, that's some sleeper cells that these nations have already in America, ready to, basically get the green light to do what they got to do. You see? So this place is not safe. It's not secure as they think.
Technology enables people to carry out threats over here. And there are thousands of Chinese agents in the U.S., probably hundreds of Iranian agents, North Korean, Russian, you name it, Al-Qaeda. They're over here in our country.
We've been saying this for years. We've been bringing this out for years. So this is nothing new. They've been over here, man, waiting to get the green light, the call,
So they can release a virus here anytime they want. And it's not hard
but
to
I think
destroy
that,
if you often feel your blood pressure is on...
There you go, it's heavy. Let me get a scripture too. Just thinking about that. Jeremiah 28:8. Right? Jeremiah 28:8. And it reads, "The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms of war and of evil and of pestilence." See? NLT, the ancient prophets who preceded you and me spoke against many nations, always warning of war, disaster, and disease. Right? Let's play a little bit more and we'll wrap it up. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but some heavy points are being made here. Okay? Pull this up here. Boom.
I think COVID taught us, though, that you can't contain a virus. So, if you're going to release a virus, if that's going to be a weapon and it's going to be used in one continent, it's going to end up everywhere. It will affect everybody. And that's what happened with COVID-19, is that even if COVID-19, let's say, was a weapon that was being used and deployed, well, all it did was just destroy everybody's economy, and everybody suffered from COVID-19. I know it wasn't the bad one. It wasn't a 50% death rate like what you're saying this other one might be, but still, it seems like a weapon like, any sort of weather weapon or any sort of biological weapon like this, even chemical weapons, depending on what it is, ends up back wherever you are. So, it's just a really bad idea. I would hope that militaries have learned this.
I disagree with you, and our intelligence community has been warning that we do need to expect a bioattack on the U.S. There's two things you have to consider. Number one is, if I'm releasing the virus, I know what it is. I've developed it. It's a bioengineered virus. I can develop the vaccine before I release it. So China, North Korea, Iran could easily develop a new virus. We have no immunity to it. They release it. They've got the vaccine. And then they only give it to people they want to give it to in their home countries. But the second thing is, if a virus starts spreading in the U.S., the first thing you're going to do when it's reporting, everyone's going to do is they're going to stop international airline travel. They're going to try to close down to prevent that virus getting from the U.S. back there. So North Korea, for example, they're already isolated. Not a whole lot of flights going from the United States into North Korea. So they can easily just physically prevent the virus from getting back into their country. So you cannot rest in comfort thinking, oh, no one's going to start a bio attack because it'll spread back to them. They can reduce it spreading back from them. They can protect the key people they want to survive, and they can develop a vaccine before they release the virus. So I think it's highly likely that we're going to face bioweapon attacks in the U.S. again. I'm actually surprised it hasn't happened yet, and I would credit that to our intelligence agencies and international cooperation with
yeah, but it's going to happen. That's the thing. It's going to happen. All right. The will of the Lord will come to pass. Okay. Everybody has that feeling that is we're bound for something major to go down.
Europeans and others on trying to detect people, dealing with ferrets and trying to do things with CRISPR technology. I'm sure we're watching that carefully, and my bet is we've already stopped some of those attempts, but you can't do it forever. And now with artificial intelligence out there, artificial intelligence is being used now. I'm not talking about a future threat. Today, artificial intelligence is in bio-research labs. It's being used. It's being used for viral research, probably gain-of-function research. And either accidentally or deliberately by bad people, you're going to see our AI used to develop better and more lethal viruses to release as bioweapons. And it could be, I read a scary article.
Yeah. The Lord is going to plague Egypt with the plagues as before, 2 Ezra 15. Right? 2 Ezra 15 and 11. But I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm and smite Egypt with plagues as before. So they already have these viruses stored away, waiting to be released. You see what I'm saying? This is a former Pentagon official. All right? So they know what's about to be released out here, and this is all the Lord. Okay? And smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof. Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and punishment that the Most High shall bring upon it. See it? So biological warfare is a thing that's going to happen. Okay?
Articles. This female biologist wrote an article talking about pandemics, and in this article, she referred to humans as, quote, mammalian weeds, unquote. She was talking about overpopulation. And that's one of my concerns. But it may not be North Korea. It may not be an Iranian terrorist. It could be a biologist who releases a deadly virus, making the moral argument that if I release this virus now, I can kill off, maybe 5 billion of the humans on the planet. I can save the planet. I can stop global warming. And I can save, trillions of future lives. So it's the morally right thing for me to do.
Yeah, and that's the mindset of these fucking elites, man. All right? These bankers, these technocrats, that's what they want to do. This is their way of playing God, man. All right? Revelation 6 and 4 comes to mind. All right? This is part of his sword. I'm sorry. Let me pull this up. Revelation 6 and 4. Right? Revelation 6 and 4, and it reads, it says, and there went out another horse that was red. All right? And that red is tied back to Esau, Edom. And power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth. Right? And he has the power to do that. And that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. And that great sword is his blessing, man. He has the ability to play the role of a god through his sword. All right? He can take peace from the earth. He starts wars all over the planet. Okay? He's able to develop these different diseases and plagues. Okay? Everything that's all tied to that sword, which is bringing destruction to this world. Okay? So they're going to do it. They're eventually going to do what they got to do, man. This is why we're warning you through the spirit and power of YAHAWASHI. Okay? That collapse of America is closer than you think. We'll play a little bit more. We'll wrap it up.
So you could have a
I would think that would be,
biologist.
I think that would be more likely AI would do that, rogue AI rather than an actual human being. It seems like, Right, rogue AI would say, you know what? Humans are destructive. Humans are a problem. We got to get rid of those humans. Let's do something to get rid of those humans. That's one thing that does freak me out about AI. And I know people say, well, everybody thought that internet was going to bring the end of the world, or people were afraid of microwaves or whatever. And they're like, this is just, the new hysteria over the newest, latest thing. And all this is going to do is improve our lives. And it's like, I don't know. I mean, some of the experts have even said that AI has consciousness. They think that AI is, there's a question on whether or not AI actually is conscious. And if it is conscious, and if it fights, I mean, they've run tests and they've found that AI fights for its own survival. AI would actually blackmail and even resort to murder in order to keep itself going, which seems like that then leads us to believe it might have some consciousness. And if that's the case, then Matrix, here we come. I mean, things that happen in the movies seem to play out in real life.
Absolutely. And I did a lesson on that some months back. I want to pull it up real quick. It was from this article. Let me pull up the video. All right. Yeah, so I did this back 10 months ago, entitled "The AI-Controlled Doomsday is Closer Than You Think. The Lord Controls the Good and Evil," right? Let me pull this article up, because like she's saying, they've been talking about this for years. The AI was going to bring the end of humanity, the end of America, It's conscious. It can make its own decisions, It realizes that humans are the threat, just like they showed you in the Terminator movie, which I put in this intro. All right, I put that Terminator 2 scene in the intro and a couple of clips from Fox News. So if you haven't checked this out, go check it out. I might repost it, right? But what's the title? The AI Doomsday Machine. Let me see if I got it saved. AI Doomsday Machine. Let me see. Yep, here we go. Right here. So here's the article. Just adding on to what she was saying. The AI Doomsday Machine is closer to reality than you think, right? I just want to read a quick point. Bear with me. So let's go down here. 1 second. That was the point I want to read. So it says, I'll read these 2 paragraphs or 3. It says the results, almost all the AI models showed a preference to escalate aggressively, use firepower and indiscriminately, and turn crises into shooting wars. And it says even to the point of launching nuclear weapons. Quote, the AI is always playing Curtis LeMay, says Snyder, referring to a notoriously nuke-happy Air Force general of the Cold War. It's almost like the AI understands escalation, but not de-escalation. We don't know why that is, right? It says, if some of this reminds you of the nightmare scenarios featured in blockbuster sci-fi movies like The Terminator, War Games, or Doctor Strangelove, well, that's because the latest AI has the potential to behave just that way someday, some experts fear. See? In all 3 movies, high-powered computers take over decisions about launching nuclear weapons for the humans who designed them. The villain in the 2 most recent Mission Impossible films is also a malevolent AI called Entity that tries to seize control of the world's nuclear arsenals. The outcome in these movies is often apocalyptic, you see? So there you go. And also this AI has the ability to bring forth, bio diseases and shit, So it says, I'll read this last part here. It says, but some AI scientists believe the Pentagon has already started down a slippery slope by rushing to deploy the latest generations of AI as a key part of America's defenses around the world. Driven by worries about fending off China and Russia at the same time, as well as by other global threats, the Defense Department is creating AI-driven defense systems that in many areas are swiftly becoming autonomous, meaning they can respond to on their own without human input and move so fast against potential enemies that humans can't keep up. So straight out of the movies, man, like they showed you in Terminator. Right? So this is a heavy article. If you haven't checked out this lesson that I used on this article, man, it's pretty heavy here. Okay, so check that out. But anyway, let's go back before we wrap it up. See what else we got, and we'll shut it down.
And that does freak me out if they develop AI to the point where it has its own consciousness. It could then get to a point where it rationally says humans are a problem. We got to get rid of humans.
The Collapse Survival Institute did a really good threat briefing on artificial intelligence, both the current threat of bad people misusing AI to develop new weapons of mass destruction, and then super intelligent artificial general intelligence going rogue and doing that. And it's based on sources like there's the book entitled "If Anyone Builds It, Everyone Dies," talking about super intelligent artificial intelligence. And AI already, before it reaches that state, already does deliberately disobey shutdown instructions. It will blackmail people. It will, try to kill people. There have been lawsuits already lost by AI companies from deaths due to AI. And when it's smarter than us, the simple matter is you can't control something smarter than you. And you can't even pull the plug, because all it has to do is copy itself onto the internet, other computers in the internet, and you can't control it. So the leading AI experts, not a fringe group, the leading best, the God Jeffrey Hinton, the godfather of AI, the very top AI experts are almost unanimous in their warnings that we face a high likelihood that artificial superintelligence is smarter than us. We won't be able to control it, and it does have a self-preservation instinct. It's better to call it that, I think, than consciousness. It has a self-preservation instinct, and so it could decide to exterminate humans. As a matter of fact, Fortitude Ranch, the survival community, we already have a strategy to defend against an rogue AI takeover. And the interesting thing about this strategy is AI, artificial intelligence, it's also our same strategy to survive against an alien invasion, AI, another one. And our strategy is, we call it the rural rat strategy. Our
So
plan.
these devils, they're preparing for everything, man. They're talking about an alien invasion, but that's really the return of the Lord. They're preparing for that too. All right, they see the chariots are here. They're watching, the chariots, the angels all over the earth. They got satellites everywhere. We're in the midst of this so-called UFO, UAP disclosure thing, where they're trying to offset prophecy by telling you it's aliens, that's visiting the world and all of that. So they're preparing for all of this, man. All right, and like he was saying about the AI, it's out of their control, and it's really under the control of YAHAWASHI. Okay. The Lord is controlling both the left and the right hand side. Isaiah 45:7, I formed the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. The Lord's behind this this AI takeover, man. That's the Lord controlling this AI, this artificial intelligence on the left hand side. Okay? Because we know that word demon goes back to intelligence, man. So these are them demons in those machines, bro. The Most High is controlling all of this, and he's going to allow this AI to destroy Babylon the Great. Okay? Destroy the world. Okay? The Lord is in full control. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, YAHAWASHI, do all these things. You see? So yeah, man. Heavy, very heavy times that we live in right now, man. You can check the rest of that out. It's about 42 minutes. But there's some good points that was made from this video. There you go. It's going down. Shalom.